So, introduce yourself.
I mean, I will, but hi, I'm Derek. I'm the marketing manager here at Heart of the Game. I don't know what we're introducing or what I'm doing here. Joe just asked me to stay after work tonight, so I've been a little cryptically worried about this all night, and I don't know what we're doing yet. So, ah, okay, so maybe I do want to stay after work a little bit. This looks like a fresh box of the new booster set of Magic the Gathering called Zendikar Rising, and I think Joe wants me to open this box, which I am all for doing. Let's get to it. All right, so I gotta be careful not to cut because there's a box topper, right?
Yep, just cut along the perforated edge there.
Let's not cut myself on camera because that would be bad. This is our Expedition box topper. I'm going to save that for last because that's how I like to do it. Just going to get started here. Oh, we already see one of the cool double-faced card markers that you get to put in your deck when you have one of the flip cards for land. Oh, the rare's on top. Got to remember that for the next several packs. This is a cool one that has the flip either mountain or plains. So cool. Got a veteran adventurer, one of our uncommons. One of the first things that we see with the party dynamic there. Neat. Relic Vial, a nice new artifact. Fireblade Charger. Works with equipment, giving it haste. That's cool. Neat. So we're going to open them this way now. Maria Captain. Yeah, an angel. That's my favorite. Oh, so it's almost like a Cathar's Crusade for just party. That's really neat. You wouldn't think that 4 for a 1/1 with Flying Vigilance is value, but if you have a few of the party members, it can add up really quickly because that's 4 counters for 1 creature entering the battlefield. Neat. Counters. Here's another one of the cool flip ones. This is a sorcery with a land on the flip side. And the rare for this one is Thieving Skydiver, a Merfolk Rogue, so it can fit in your party. 2/1 flying with a kicker, which can't be 0. Enters the battlefield if it was kicked, gain control of target artifact with CMC X or less. If the artifact is an equipment, you get to attach it to Thieving Skydiver.
Skewing Fish is one of the best cards in the set.
This is busted. I want to put that in like 3 decks already. Foil Strength of Solidarity. You control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Yep, that's going to go into SRAM Cheerios, that's for sure. Archpriest of Iona. 1-drop. Rare human cleric. Power equal to the number of members of your party. If you have a full party, target creature gets 1/1 in flying until end of turn. Not bad for a 1-drop. Cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard, this guy gets flying until end of turn. Seems like a good draft card, that's for sure. And a rare dragon. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases ended. It's an Omnath dragon. When it dies, pay any amount of red. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. This thing is insane. I love that. That's Talia card. Non-land permanence sorcery with a land on the back. Ugh. Some of these flip land / spell cards are just going to change the way you deck build because there's going to be so many different versatility options with just having those cards. So cool. It's probably one of the things I'm most excited about this set for is those flip lands. They're just really interesting. So we'll see how it actually impacts EDH as a meta, but I think they're going to be really neat to see in play. Call 4 and 3 white for a sorcery. Create 2 4/4 white angel warrior creature tokens with flying. Non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn, with a land on the back. So sick. I love that. Enchantment enters the battlefield, draw. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player had another land enter the battlefield under their control this turn, they return a land they control to its owner's hand. That is bonkers. Sorry, Gitrog Monster. Looks like you got some hate. legendary dude. Zagreus, Thief of Heartbeats. 4 in Rakdos for a vampire rogue. Costs 1 less for each creature in your party, so it could be as low as just black-red. Flying Death Touch Haste 4/4. Other creatures you control have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. What? This dude's gnarly. Wow. That's going to be a... We got our Mythic. Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients. 2 and Boros for legendary planeswalker Nahiri. Plus, you make a token. -2, you find some equipment. And -3 deals damage based on equipment. Wow. That's cool. Ooh, foil fallout planes. Super pretty. Yeah, see. Verdict. 3 and 2 black for a sorcery. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers with CMC 3 or less from the battlefield, and all creature and planeswalker cards with CMC 3 or less from all graveyards. So it's a board wipe and graveyard hate in 1 for 5. That's awesome. Shatter Skull Charger. 2 red and 1 for a giant warrior with trample and haste. It's 4/3 with a kicker of 2. If it was kicked, it gets a 1/1 counter. And if it doesn't have a 1/1 counter at the end step, you return it to your hand. Interesting. Ooh. Foil counter spell on one side and land on the other. Duari Disruption. 1 and a blue for a counter target spell unless its controller pays money. Cobra, oldie but goodie. creature, Grakmaw, Skyclave Ranger. So Golgarian 1 for a legendary Hydra Horror. Of course, enters the battlefield with some counters. It gets 3. Whenever another creature you control dies, if it had a 1/1 counter, this guy gets 1/1. Oh, so it gets you value even when it dies. Not bad. And then a foil rare, Nighthawk Scavenger. 2 black and 1 for a Vampire Rogue. 1+ star 3. Flying Death Touch Lifelink. Its power is equal to 1+ the number of card types among cards in opponents' graveyards. That could get pretty big in a game of Commander. For a sorcery, costs 1 less for each member of your party, so as little as 1 black. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, shuffle your library, so it's a nice tutor. If you have a full party, you may cast a spell with CMC 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So for as little as 1, you get to tutor and then play a card. Wow, that's bonkers. Legendary creature, Akiri, Fearless Voyager, Boros and 1 for a core warrior. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. And then you can unattach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible. Really good for a Boros equipment deck there. That's awesome. And then a foil Sneaking Guy. In white, Maul of the Skyclaves, 2 and a white for an equipment. Enters the battlefield, attach it to a creature you control. It gets 2/2 flying and first strike. Not bad. A little high of an equip cost, but there's ways to get around that, so not bad. Plate Baloth, 5 and 2 green for a beast with a kicker of 3. Can't be countered. 6/6 hexproof with haste. If it was kicked, it enters with 4 more 1/1 counters on it. That's a big boy. Oh, and then a foil Turn Timber Symbiosis, 4 and 3 green for a sorcery. Look at the top 7 of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If that card has CMC 3 or less, it enters with 3 1/1 counters. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order, with a land on the back. So sick. Rare land, Throne of McKindy. Tap for diamond. 1 and tap, put a charge counter on it. Tap to remove a charge counter and add 2 mana of any one color, but you can only use it to cast kicked spells. Seems real good in a kicker deck, which this set seems to have a lot of. Maria. So 2 and a white for an Archon with flying. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. Non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. So not only are you getting a 2/3 flyer for 3, it's a hate bear on top of it. Super good. Black for an instant, each opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker with the highest CMC among the creatures and planeswalkers they control. So generally up to 3 sacks for 3. Instant speed seems pretty strong. And then a foil, Lull Mage's Familiar. This one's a Simic. Verazal, the Split Current. It's a serpent. 0/0, so it'll enter with a 1/1 counter for each mana spent to cast it, which I didn't say, sorry, was Simic and X. Whenever you cast a kicked spell, you may remove 2 counters from Verazal. If you do, copy the spell, and you may choose new targets for it. Interesting effect in Simic, that's for sure. Ooh, and then a foil alternate art, Canopy Baloth. Rare legendary, Kaza Royal Chaser. This one's an Is It legendary creature with 1/2 human wizard flying in haste. You can tap it the next instant or sorcery spell you cast, which costs X or less, where X is the number of wizards you control. Oh, it's a cost reducer. I read that wrong. So the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less, where X is the number of wizards you control as the ability resolves. So Wizard Tribal just got a new toy. That's wicked. Chirix? The Raging Isle, 2 and 2 blue for a legendary Leviathan Crab. 0/17! Oh! Spells your opponents cast that target Chirix are 2 more to cast. 3 generic, it gets plus X minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of islands you control. Holy cow. Make this guy assign damage equal to his toughness. Whew. And then a foil concerted defense counter spell. Okay, this is cool already. That's a full art rare flip land with white and black mana. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. Woo! That's pretty. Oh! And a foil angel! Shepherd of Heroes. 4 and a white for an angel cleric. 3/4 flying, enters the battlefield to gain 2 life for each creature in your party. Somebody will be buying that after. Shambler, 1 green for a fungus beast, 0/0, enters with 1/1 counter on it. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, you create an insect. 1 and tap this dude, you put a 1/1 counter on something. Of Insight, 3 and a blue with kicker of 2 and 2 blue. Choose 1. If it was kicked, choose any number. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. Scry 2, then discard 2. I'm sorry, scry 2, then draw 2. That would be bad if it was scry 2, then discard 2. Target player creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the number of cards in their hand. So for 4, you get to do 1. For 8, you get to do all 3. Wayward Guide Beast. 1 for a 2/2 beast with trample and haste. When it deals damage to a player, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Dangerous, but you get it out early and get an advantage. Myriad Construct. 4 for an artifact creature construct. 4/4 with a kicker of 3. If it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each non-basic land your opponents control. So 3 players, 5 non-basics each. Seems real good. When it becomes the target of a spell, sack it and create a number of 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. That could get out of hand. Really, really. That is an alternate frame Skyclave Shade. 1 and a black for a shade. 3/1 with a kicker of 2 and a black. Can't block. If it was kicked, it enters with 2/1/1 counters on it with landfall. Oh, you get to cast it from your graveyard. Nice. That's some good recursion value. This I really like. It's an uncommon for Selesnya, a 2/3 for 2, a beast with vigilance. You can tap it to put a basic from your hand onto the battlefield, or tap it to return a basic you control to its owner's hand. That's pretty strong. I like that. And then the rare for this pack would be Seagate Restoration, 4 and 3 blue for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. You have no max hand size for the rest of the game, with a blue source on the back. That's pretty strong. And then a foil Inordinate Rage. Relic Robber, 2 and a red for a Goblin Rogue, 2/2 with haste. Deals combat damage to a player. That player creates a Goblin Construct artifact creature token that can't block and does damage to them. Not fun. Well, for them. Of Abundance. 1 and a green for an instant with a kicker of 2 and a green. Choose 1. If it was kicked, choose any number, similar to the blue one earlier. Let's see, you can put 2/1/1 counters on a creature. Target player gains X, where X is the greatest power among creatures they control. And the last mode would be target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So 2 for 1 choice, or 5 for all 3. Alright, one more mythic. Scourge of the Skyclaves. 1 and a black for a demon with a kicker of 4 and a black. When you cast this spell, if it was kicked, each player loses, half of their life rounded up. Is that all? And its power and toughness are each equal to 20 minus the highest life total among players. Valakut Exploration. 2 and a red for an enchantment with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. At the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled with Valakut Exploration, put them into that owner's graveyard. Then it deals that much damage to each opponent. So if you don't get to cast the spell, it'll at least give you some value hitting your opponents. I like that. And we have one last little pack to open, which I'm sure everybody's been waiting for, because that's really what this set has been hyped up about. It's nerve-wracking. Bountiful Promenade, which was one of the battle bond lands, enters the battlefield tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. Still not bad. It's a good card.